Tonight, checking in on the backlash over Air Canada's new charges for carry-ons. Breaking down the higher fees targeting the lowest fare flyers.
I don't agree with it.
And the threat to summon airline CEOs to Ottawa.
This is not acceptable.
A deadly police-involved shooting in downtown Vancouver.
This is a terrible scene.
The suspect dead after a stabbing in broad daylight. Also, Manhattan manhunt for the killer who shot a healthcare CEO on the streets of Midtown.
A premeditated, pre-planned, targeted attack.
Plus, a pre-winter blast and the new national forecast for when it really arrives.
Well, I've been shoveling for 2 hours.
And high-performance heroes on Parliament Hill. A celebration of Canada's Olympians and Paralympians.
We stand on guard for thee.
CTV National News with Omar Sachedina.
Good evening, everyone. The country's biggest airline has revealed changes to the way travelers fly in the new year, preventing passengers who book the cheapest tickets on some routes from bringing carry-ons on board. CTV's Adrian Gobrio breaks down the higher costs, the reaction, and the response from Ottawa.
The days where all passengers could roll onto a flight with a complimentary carry-on are coming to an abrupt end on board Canada's national airline. Starting January 3rd, customers who purchase a basic fare Air Canada ticket to fly within North America or to a sun destination will have to pay and check their duffel bags, rolling carry-on, and large backpacks, though purses and laptop carriers will be allowed. The first bag will cost you $35, the second, $50.
We pay so many for the fly, so why I need to pay more for little bag?
For anyone buying an entry-level economy ticket, there will also be a fee if you wish to change your assigned seat at any time before takeoff. In a statement to CTV News, Air Canada says the charges are not new in the Canadian industry and is merely our competitive response. The news reached the halls of Parliament Hill today.
I will be calling the CEOs of Canada's airlines to a meeting in mid-December where I will be discussing excess fees. This is not acceptable.
In June, WestJet rolled out its ultra basic ticket tier that does away with free carry-on bags and charges a fee for seat selection. A former Air Canada COO believes today's announcement shouldn't come as a surprise.
If you take a look at the United States, for example, both Delta Airlines and United Airlines, hardly low-cost carriers, offer a basic fare.
Though with Canadians already paying some of the highest airfare prices in the world, it's a move that simply isn't sitting well with passenger advocates.
Whether the carry-on is in the belly of the airplane or in the cabin, it makes no difference. It doesn't consume more fuel. So essentially, they are trying to monetize now every possible aspect of your travel experience.
We reached out to Air Canada requesting an interview this evening. They declined. In an email, they say that the moves announced today are in step with other airlines across Canada. Omar.
Adrian Gobrio at Toronto's Pearson Airport tonight. To a developing story tonight in Vancouver, where police revealed this evening they fatally shot a suspect after a shocking daylight stabbing that left 2 people injured. CTV's BC Bureau Chief Andrew Johnson on what led to the deadly confrontation.
An attempted arrest inside a 7-Eleven turns deadly. Ten gunshots can be heard in the video captured by a witness just before the noon hour near BC Place.
I was just outside the door. I couldn't enter because I saw it, they are doing this, so I can't enter into the store.
What went through your mind while you were seeing this?
Nothing. Nothing, because it's a terrible scene.
VPD officers, along with other first responders, attempted life-saving attempts on the suspect. However, he was taken to hospital where he later died.
VPD says the man had stolen alcohol from a nearby restaurant and was carrying a large knife. Staff called 911 and police say they found the man at the 7-Eleven. Police won't say how the arrest escalated, but it played out in front of dozens of people at a busy intersection, and witnesses are painting a fuller picture. They say the man appeared to be trying to shoplift from the store, and when confronted by 7-Eleven staff, stabbed one of them.
They just said, you can take whatever you want, but he didn't listen. He tries to stab that lady inside and him.
Police will confirm one person was stabbed and another injured. Both were taken to the hospital and are expected to survive. Downtown Vancouver has been plagued by random attacks, violence, and vandalism. People are saying they just don't feel safe. Police did announce an arrest today in a recent disturbing case just last week and not far from here, when a man was walking down the sidewalk and sucker punched by a complete stranger. Omar.
All right, Andrew, thank you. A massive manhunt in Midtown Manhattan tonight for the killer in a brazen murder of a healthcare executive. The terrifying shooting unfolding on the streets of New York, packed with tourists during the holiday season. CTV's Joy Malbin on the victim and the suspect.
This is the shocking moment when the gunman raises his weapon and in a brazen attack takes aim and fires multiple times, killing Brian Thompson, a healthcare executive, in the early morning hours.
Every indication is that this was a premeditated, pre-planned, targeted attack. This does not appear to be a random act of violence.
The father of two and CEO of United Healthcare, one of the largest insurers in America, was attending a conference in Midtown Manhattan. Police say the gunman appeared at a Starbucks wearing a mask and that distinctive backpack before the shooting, and then waited.
He ignores numerous other pedestrians, approaches the victim from behind, and shoots him in the back. It appears that the gun malfunctions as he clears the jam and begins to fire again.
As police search for a motive in what appears to be a targeted execution, Thompson's wife Paulette told news outlets her husband had recently received some threats, describing the father of two as an incredibly loving, generous, talented man who truly lived life to the fullest. We are shattered. Police handing out flyers of the suspect, finding 3 bullet casings and a cell phone at the scene after the suspect fled, jumping on an e-bike before disappearing into Central Park.
And I saw him after he shot him. He ran across the street this way.
Even for hardened New Yorkers, it was too much.
I mean, it's New York. It's not normal here at 8 o'clock, 7 o'clock in the morning, but it's pretty scary, huh?
Police were already on high alert for New York's Christmas tree lighting, assuring the public that they will be safe with a massive police presence on the streets tonight. Omar?
Joy, thanks. Back on this side of the border, dramatic video of a smash and grab at a jewelry store north of Toronto. Police say it involved several suspects who then turned their hammers on display cases inside a store at a mall and then tried to flee, but they didn't get far.
As officers were close to arriving on scene, it was reported that a Honda Civic, believed to be the suspect vehicle, collided into the back of a vehicle.
Police say 6 people are in custody and there could be more suspects still at large. Canada's 25 most wanted fugitives were unveiled today in a public push to get them behind bars. Bureau Chief Geneviève Beauchemin on the 2 suspected Quebec gang leaders at the top of the list.
With life-sized cutouts of their suspects in the background, authorities listed their fugitives.
Dave Pic-Turmel, notre nouveau numéro 1.
Top of their list is Dave Pic-Turmel, suspected leader of the Blood Family Mafia, BFM, a gang in Quebec fighting a battle against the Hells Angels for the control of the drug trade. Number 2 is an ally of Turmel's, Al Boivin, linked to a series of violent crimes.
These 2 individuals do represent a high threat for the community.
On offer, a $250,000 reward for information leading to an arrest in each case. Also on the list of 25, a woman wanted by the York Regional Police in connection with the murder of a 16-year-old Quebec boy in August. Today, more than 20 police services joined forces with BOLO, or Be on the Lookout, a non-profit fighting crime.
There's about $1 million offered in reward just today. So there's about $1 million on the table for this specific top 25. So money's there to be paid out.
Since BOLO was set up in 2018, 30 of its files have led to arrests.
All it takes is one phone call,
and we can apprehend these individuals.
Bolo focuses on social media, technology to draw attention to the most wanted. But also this time, an unusual stunt. This chocolate advent calendar.
Everything we can do to encourage people to be on the lookout, including printing advent calendars, we will do it.
Still, the aim is serious, securing communities. All this by catching up to some of the tens of thousands of fugitives in this country. Police say if you spot the fugitives, call 911, that they could be armed and dangerous. Geneviève Beauchemin, CTV News, Montreal.
Well, officially winter is 17 days away, but it's already beginning to feel like it, with parts of central Canada getting a blast of snow today. It came on the same day as Environment Canada revealed the forecast for the coldest season. CTV's Alison Bamford with what you can expect.
There's one secret to success for this Saskatoon ski shop.
It's really that white stuff that makes the difference.
Last year's El Nino winter wiped out most of the cross-country ski season, but November's heavy snowfall is boosting spirits and business.
We're really optimistic that we'll have a really good season. And we've got enough snow, even if it does melt a little bit, we can rework the snow and we'll have great trails.
Already enough snow, with more on the way. Models suggest a wetter, warmer winter for most Canadians. Western Canada is more likely to see those conditions this month before a possible cool down in the second half of the season. As for the East, Ottawa and the GTA got their first taste of winter today.
I'm gonna go sledding today. In the early morning, I just looked outside and saw the snow, and I was really happy.
Fun at first, but conditions turned icy. And in Muskoka, the snow won't stop after the region received more than a meter of it over the weekend.
It's crazy. I already did my awning, I did my deck, I had the blower here, I've been shoveling for 2 hours.
Ontario eastward, the models aren't clear on how much precipitation will fall this season, but that half of the country has a better chance of warmer temperatures staying through February.
I do want to emphasize that it's still important to look at the short-range forecasts and your alerts. That is going to tell you the most detailed information for your region.
Influencing this year's winter, meteorologists say a weak La Nina weather pattern butting heads with climate change, something Environment Canada plans to take a closer look at. They'll launch a pilot project next year to indicate if human-caused climate change had an impact on severe weather. Omar?
All right, Alison, thank you. New details tonight about a replacement for the bungled pay system for Canada's 360,000 federal workers. CTV's Judy Trin on the new timeline for a solution that has already required hundreds of millions in investment and years of testing.
Putting in a new pay system hasn't been easy for the federal government. In 2021, Toronto-based Dayforce was chosen as the fix. Officials say Dayforce was the only company willing to fully meet accessibility requirements. Of more than 360,000 federal employees, 6% have disabilities.
We think it's extremely serious that suppliers that come and bid on projects for the Government of Canada can meet our basic national values. So for us, that's not a negotiation point.
The previous system, Phoenix, a debacle, left thousands of workers underpaid, overpaid, or not paid at all. Since then, the government has spent $289 million searching for the next generation pay system. $171 million of that has gone to Dayforce. No date has been set for implementation, but hundreds of millions of dollars more may be needed.
If you throw more requirements at something, the cost goes up.
Of 3 initial competing bids, Dayforce scored the lowest, but a report deemed it viable. It met 85% of the government's requirements. However, there were 90 gaps. Analysis showed that Dayforce wasn't able to fix some gaps now or with future product development.
It is very complex, and a lot of that complexity falls on us to change.
That means renegotiating collective agreements to standardize work policies and simplify pay rules to fit what Dayforce can do. Bargaining with unions will be a challenge.
We are looking to make it simpler for the government to be able to pay its workforce, but that does not come with rollbacks at the table.
The best case scenario for the Dayforce rollout is in 2027, but some say it's good to be cautious. Phoenix was rushed. And those problems have already cost taxpayers more than $3.5 billion. Omar.
Judy, thank you. France is facing a major political crisis tonight after opposition lawmakers voted to oust the prime minister in a non-confidence vote. That's the first time that's happened in 62 years. Michel Barnier had faced heavy criticism from left and far-right parties for pushing through an austerity budget to rein in a massive deficit without parliamentary consent. He served for about 3 months, making him the shortest-serving prime minister in France's modern republic. President Emmanuel Macron now needs to select a successor. He is expected to deliver an address to the nation tomorrow. Human rights organization Amnesty International says it has gathered, quote, sufficient evidence to believe Israel's conduct during the war in Gaza amounts to genocide against the Palestinian people, a charge Israel rejects. The 296-page report details numerous instances over 9 months, saying Israel, quote, has treated Palestinians in Gaza as a subhuman group, unworthy of human rights and dignity, demonstrating its intent to physically destroy them. In response, Israel's foreign ministry said Amnesty International was, quote, deplorable and fanatical, and said the report was fabricated and false. Today in southern Gaza, Israeli airstrikes struck a tent camp housing displaced Palestinians, killing at least 21 people, including women and children. Israel's military says it was targeting Hamas. Coming up,
dishonoring the name of those people and their family who paid the ultimate sacrifice.
A monumental mistake on the side of an Ontario highway. A 64-year-old grandmother is believed to have died after falling into a sinkhole in Pennsylvania.
We feel like we failed. It's tough. We have a lot of wins out here. I've been proud to be a trooper for a very long time, and it's been tough.
Elizabeth Pollard and her granddaughter went looking for their lost cat on Monday. The 5-year-old girl was found unharmed in Pollard's car, but the rescue for Pollard has now turned into a recovery mission. A major mistake on a monument on an Ontario highway meant to honor Canada's war dead has actually provoked a profound sense of dishonor. CTV's Heather writes on the living nightmare for a Canadian veteran.
Perched on a corner of this Ontario service centre is a bronze sculpture called Presence in Absence. It includes the silhouettes of dozens of Canadian Armed Forces members, described as men and women who made the ultimate sacrifice for their country. Except many of them did not die in battle and are very much alive.
I'm so torn inside because I lost two persons under my command in Afghanistan, and those people are not even on that plate.
Hélène Leselel served in Afghanistan and Bosnia. Her name is one of 67 listed on a plaque which has recently been removed. General Romeo Dallaire is another. Leselel says only about 20 of the people honored actually died in service.
It's dishonoring the name of those people and their family who paid the ultimate sacrifice. So it is hard for me to deal with this, but I want them to know that it's with all my respect that I'm, advocating for this right now.
The sculptures were installed 2 years ago, part of an initiative to honor veterans by planting 2.5 million trees along Ontario's Highway 401. Private donors and all levels of government gave millions to the organization, including Veterans Affairs Canada. The specific installation was not funded by VAC, Veterans Affairs said in a statement, adding VAC was not asked to validate the list of names featured on the memorial. Trees for Life, which organized the campaign, says it is reaching out to those affected to determine how to fix the situation. The executive director said in an email, "I see this issue as a major personal priority of mine to get rectified."
For now, only the plaque with the names has been taken down, but there are calls for the entire sculpture to be removed and an apology issued to veterans. Omar.
Heather, thank you. Still ahead.
1, 2, 3.
The world's top 5 streamed artists of 2024. As the final countdown begins to Taylor Swift's Eras Tour in Vancouver this weekend, another reminder of her astounding success. With almost 27 billion streams globally, Swift was the most listened to artist this year, according to Spotify's annual ranking. Canada's The Weeknd came in at number 2, and Puerto Rican star Bad Bunny, who had held top spot for 3 years in a row before Swift knocked him off number 1 spot last year, took the number 3 spot. Drake took 4th, and rounding out the top 5, Billie Eilish. And if you bought a lottery ticket in Quebec or Alberta, you could be sitting on Canadian lottery history. 2 winning tickets to Tuesday's $80 million Lotto Max draw were sold in the provinces, the second time the largest ever jackpot has been awarded. Still ahead, the message Canada's Olympians brought to Parliament Hill. A special honor for some of Canada's Olympic and Paralympic athletes on Parliament Hill today. But as CTV's Mike Couture explains, the celebration also came with a push.
She's been at the top of her sport, winning weightlifting medals in consecutive Olympic Games. But even for Maude Charon, being honored on Parliament Hill is pretty cool.
Just chatting one-on-one with people. We're all human and we all have passions to talk about, and I feel like sport brings that passion with everyone.
Now, the pandemic meant her gold medal win in Tokyo was a little more muted. It's why this moment was so special. Hundreds of Olympians and Paralympians were honored on the floor of the House of Commons. For 6-time Paralympian and 3-time gold medalist Pat Anderson, these types of events are gratifying.
So, I hope that what we do is, inspiring and empowering.
Empowering like that moment when the entire country cheered on the men's 4x100 relay team as they captured gold.
It means the world to me because we had an impact on everyone that watched the race and gave them a moment of joy.
27 medals at the Paris Olympics marks Canada's second largest haul in a summer games. The chef de mission says even more is possible if lawmakers commit more money to these athletes.
We are in a good place, but if we have more funding, we're gonna be out there.
It's something the government acknowledges needs improvement.
It's game-changing, right? It would be the difference between not just the color of a medal, but whether you make the team overall.
But for today, the focus was on everyone being part of Team Canada.
It's not every day we get to bring everyone together in one place to be able to have opportunities like this.
And more opportunities to hero Canada on the Olympic podium. Mike Couture, CTV News, Ottawa.
Making Canada proud. That's a snapshot of this Wednesday. For all of us at CTV National News, thank you for watching. Good night and see you tomorrow.